Hey darlings, today I'm going to be talking about the 12-week year. So this is a system of getting your goals done and being more productive and keeping track of your progress. So my love originally heard about this from a real estate podcast, and he was really pumped up about it, really excited, and he was telling me about it. And normally this would be so up my alley, but I'm weird. There's a couple YouTube videos I love. There's the School of Greatness and there's Impact Theory. And I was like, well, I've never heard about this from those. You know, who's this Brian Moran guy that wrote it? And I think there's a guy like Michael Lennington, something. I don't know, but I was just like, I've never heard of them. But so because I hadn't heard of these people from a couple of my favorite YouTube channels, I was just like, who do they think they are? Like, I don't know why it was so weirdly belligerent. I have no right. I mean, no one should judge, but especially me, I was like, I have no right to just be like, I've never heard of them. I don't want to do it. It's very, very silly. I don't know where that came from. But he kept being really excited about it and talking about it and went to re-listen to the book. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to it because I do love anything that helps you get your goals and helps you be more productive. So I gave it a listen, and even I think it's 5 hours long, and I'm like, I was 4 hours in, I'm just like, I don't know about that. Everything made sense. I was just super weirdly belligerent about it, and I'm not sure why. I know in the beginning they were talking about giving an example of losing weight, and they mentioned exercising 6 times a week and eating 1,200 calories, and I was just like, unless you're a really little person, that's not enough food. I was very pissed about that. I don't know why. I was just like, you're gonna mess up your metabolism. It's not okay. It's just really weird about. And then they also mentioned how there's all these diet books out there, and there's a book called Run, Fat Bitch, Run, and that I don't know why that offended me. I was just like, why would you even mention that book? That sounds terrible. But finally, once I got to the end, I was like, okay, I'm on board. This makes sense. So my main takeaways I got from the book are when you're setting yearly goals, it's too much time and it's going to be so easy to just procrastinate. So basically you're going to set a goal, and then at the beginning of the year, you're like, I have a year. I don't need to worry about it. And then, you're in November and you're like, ah, crap. So then you're scrambling, and then you're like, well, it's too late. And that having a very specific plan, basically day by day, kind of knowing how your schedule is going to be, is going to be really influential to helping you get your goals. And then having things that you can measure, and having a weekly meeting type thing to see how that week went. So you're super, super mindful about how you're doing. So I was like, those things all make sense. So I'm kind of implementing it. So what I did is, for the next 12 weeks, I was like, what do I want to accomplish? My dog in the back. What are you doing? I was like, what do I want to accomplish in the next 12 weeks? So I was like, okay, I want to finish my 4th book. I want to record, submit, have it go live and all that. My first audiobook of Satirus. And then I want to record a book for somebody else. So I was like, those are what I want to do. I also want to only eat what I need to eat. Because sometimes, I might get a little snacky. I might want a little bit extra. I might have a big dinner and be like, no, I could still eat something when I don't need to. So I'm like, it's another thing I want to do. And I also want to sell some books. More books. I've sold some. I want to sell more. So what I did is I looked at how many pages I should write on my 4th book. And turns out not a whole lot. If I'm going by a 12-week span, I want to get it done. I want at least the first draft done. So I was like, okay, I want to do 15 pages a week, which does not sound like much, but I also have another job and I have other goals. So I was like, 2 to 3 pages a day is all I'm going to need for that. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be my thing. So every day I track how much I write. I'm like, oh, did I write 2 pages? Did I write 4? Did I write 1? how much did I write? Next one is I'm going to record 2 hours of finished audio, first on my audiobook and then on somebody else's. And obviously this takes longer than 2 hours to do because you have to read it. It's going to take longer than the final form because you're going to mess up. Or maybe have to pause if there's a plane flying overhead, your tummy makes a weird noise, all that fun stuff. And then editing. Editing, obviously, it takes at least as long as to listen to it, but longer, because you're pulling things out of there and all that stuff, and then you have to level and master and whatever. So that takes some time. So 2 hours might end up being like 6 hours or so of something in there. Maybe. And then I want to sell more books. So yeah, the 2 hours a week roughly is about 17 minutes a day of finished audio. So those are my daily things. And then I want to sell books, like 50 copies, which to me sounds very small, but also scary because I don't know how to do that. So my to-do will be researching more and also sending my first book to different book reviewers. So there's one lady I have followed on Facebook for years, and I was looking at her page and she was like, yeah, if you want me to look at your book or even do like a blurb alert or something, like even if I don't read it, maybe that's something I can do. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I'm going to send that to her. I'm waiting on that part because I did notice a couple little things in my first book while I was narrating that bothered me, and nothing huge. I noticed a red comma. I'm like, why do I have a red comma? So I have to double check if that's in the Kindle version. And a couple times where I use like the same word relatively close, like in the same paragraph or like a couple sentences away, and it just sounded weird. And I'm surprised I didn't catch that. It's very annoying. So I want to fix those little things before I send it in, because I don't want someone to like read it and be like, what the hell, like, oh, this author sucks, because they didn't like, oh, that red comma. Like I said, I don't even know if it's in the Kindle version, but it was in like my original document, so I was like, oh. But that's the thing, and I have not quantified that one as well, because a lot of it's going to be about learning. Like, I don't know how many book reviewers are going to be out there that, my genre will fit with them. So it's gonna, and then asking people for reviews, like people that I know that have read it, be like, yo, please go review my book. Those things terrify me, but I'm gonna do it. So what each day looks like, that I've been doing is, I don't know, can you see this? Maybe, I don't know. I write out what my appointments are, what I need to do for the day. And then I've been doing like little stars. So each day I have a potential to get 3 stars. So that's if I write what I'm supposed to, if I record what I'm supposed to, and if I don't eat too much. So if I don't have any of those moments where I'm like, oh, I'm full, but I'm still going to eat this thing even though I know I shouldn't, I get my little star if I only eat what I need. So that's what I've been doing. Technically, I should be planning out my days better. But things are so all over the place. I'm just kind of easing into this and taking it a little bit more carefully. Oh, you have it. My dog. My dog is here with a toy. She made me lose my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So another thing they talk about is making a schedule that works for you, where you can finish everything you need to do. And a thing that I like. Oh, sorry. They talk about something called buffer block. So this is time you take once or twice a day to get done things that aren't particularly great for getting to your goals, but you kind of have to do. So like answering emails or voicemails or just that kind of like minutia random office admin stuff, so that during the day you're not like, you're not getting something done that's really important and you're like, oh, this email came in, and you're getting distracted and pulled away from it. So I've been trying to get better about doing that. So basically, I wake up, do my morning routine. If I don't have work right away, I answer any emails that I got the night before, or take care of any sort of client stuff. And then in the like later afternoon or whenever I'm done with work, I will again check my emails and answer anything, or any text messages. I mean, if anything's urgent, I do take the time to take care of that. But it does give you a little bit of relief if an email comes in and it's like, oh, I don't have to do anything with that until I have my section of time. And then it also makes you more productive because you're less likely to multitask. Because if you're recording, an email comes in and you pause it and you like answer the email and then you go back to recording, like you're switching all these headspaces, where if you're just sitting down, dedicating time to your email or your messages, or responding to a comment or anything like that, you're going to be more productive. Like right now, I'm playing with my dog and recording this video. Don't do that. No, I mean, maybe do. I don't know. Look at her. She needs all the love and all the playtime. She's like a herding dog on a herding dog. Like she's an Aussie healer. It's a lot of herding, a lot of energy. I feel like that's most of what I wanted to. What are you doing? Most of what I want to say. I would recommend this to people, because when I first started it this week on Sunday, today is Wednesday, I was a little like intimidated because I was like, how am I going to fit this in? Because like 2 pages of writing, not a lot. 17 minutes of recording, not a lot. But together, I mean, those take up some time, especially if I'm doing other stuff. That can be a lot. So I have to be really mindful of my time and be like, okay, I have to make sure to fit this in. I am allowing for a little bit of wiggle room. That's why I kind of have my weekly goal. So I'm like, if one day I don't write as much, then hopefully another day I'll write a little bit more, and it will all balance out. So it's pretty exciting. It is also nerve-wracking. It's supposed to be a little bit scary. One thing I did forget is you're supposed to write yourself like a big vision, something to remind yourself to keep going when you are feeling discouraged or like you don't want to. Because I talked about the cycle of change. So when you first are getting ready to change, you have like uninformed optimism, where you don't really know what it's going to take, but you're just really excited to get to the goal. And then you have informed pessimism, where you're like doing it for a bit and you're like, oh my gosh, this kind of sucks. And then you have like the valley of despair, where you are in it and you're like, this really sucks. And you feel very just like, why am I doing this? Like, maybe you're giving up TV time. Maybe you're giving up comfort. Maybe you're giving up something, and you're just really in that pain, and you're like, oh, and you don't get to see the benefit of it. But then you keep going, and eventually you get to the side of like satisfaction, and you see where all that hard work is coming into. So I mean, I don't think I'm in the valley of despair, and I hopefully don't get there. I'm already just feeling better, like having this specific goal. Because before it was like, oh hey, work on your craft every day. Well, I mean, that literally could be like, oh, I wrote a sentence. Oh, I like edited a paragraph. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna watch, like, now that I have this specific stuff and I know that like I will be done with at least the first draft of this book by the end of the 12 weeks, like that's really exciting. And to know that I will be done with my audiobook, and I will have done an audiobook for somebody else. Super exciting. So yeah, I do suggest it. It's been good. So that's me rant. Oh, this is getting kind of longer. Yeah, I was gonna say ranting. It's not really ranting. Here comes Matilda. Okay, you guys have a great day. Also, please like, comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Okay, bye.